Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm
Hey
so glad
there.
to see some new faces today. We are going to have a big group. I am pumped. I'm going to try something I don't normally do, which is technology. I'm going to try adding these AirPods. Let me Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay. Hey, technology works sometimes. Great. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to wait for everybody to trickle in here. And in the meantime, I'm going to get us started off with our slideshow. All right. So we're going to start by opening up our chat boxes. And I'd love for everybody to write in the chat box the answer to this fun little prompt. What is your favorite and least favorite part of your body and why? I did not realize the non-G rated way that you can read this until I just did this prompt at a medical school and everybody started giggling. Whatever comes up for you, what is your most favorite and least favorite part of your body? I promise it will come full circle with the exercise we're about to do. I know we've got some new people on here, so while you guys are getting your answers in the chat box, if anybody cannot figure out how how that chat box works, you can just pipe up here and let me know, and I'll guide you through it, or you can raise your hand, and it should alert me. Got some new people joining now. Wow, we've got a big group today. So exciting. So, for those who are just joining, we are starting off with a little icebreaker in the chat box. Write in the chat box, what is your favorite and least favorite part of your body and why? Welcome, Kyler. So glad to see some old friends and new friends here. Kyler, I was so excited to see you signed up just a couple minutes before class. We are responding to this little blurb in the chat box. If you just got added to the class. What is your favorite and least favorite part of your body and why? And it looks like everybody's pretty much microphones off since this is a bigger class. I'm going to invite everybody to just go ahead and mute themselves. That way we don't have a lot of background noise. That being said, I would like to experiment with still just speaking freely. So if you ever want to chime in, feel free to just chime in. Take yourself off mute and speak. If it gets to a point where we're stumbling over each other, we can start the hand raise function, but I think we'll be okay with just talking today. Um, but for now, microphone's off. All right, let's start diving into the answers in the chat box. Stephanie Hutchison, my eyes. I can't hide my lying eyes because they don't lie. I love it. They tell their truths, so while they are my most complimented part of my anatomy, they'll also get me in trouble, a lot of trouble. That's a poem right there waiting to be written. I love it. Oh, wow. Kim, do you mind sharing yours aloud yourself? If you feel comfortable with that, you can just take yourself off. I'm going to invite everybody to do this. So, would you get us started?
You talking about to me?
Yes, Kim Ousley. Yes. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'm so sorry. Ousley? Ousley?
Owsley. That's
Ousley.
fine.
Great.
I'm
Thank
just trying
you.
to. My favorite part of my body is my smile. The least favorite is my stump from amputation on my lower left leg due to cancer. I'm
Wow.
sad. It's been 15 years, but I'm still
Yeah.
sometimes get back. So,
Yeah. Without revealing too much about where we're headed, I think that this initial answer is going to lead you to some interesting places during our writing prompt that's to come. How these two places on your body might speak to each other. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Tia Conti says favorite part is eyes. Great. Tracy, do you mind chiming in and just taking yourself off of the mic and telling us what you've written?
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Tracy. I'm from Victoria, BC. I know John from Colombia. Um,
Oh, great. Yay.
this is a bit of a tricky. I was just shocked actually that you said that for the first question. Like this is a hot button, I think, for people and their body
Yeah.
parts. So there's a whole background there, but I just
Yeah.
said I just been sitting in this place of gratitude for my body because I too
Mm,
am I'm a breast cancer survivor in the last two
yeah.
years.
Oh,
But
wow.
so it's lots of gratitude for all the body parts, and with an aging body, particularly, I don't like my toes, so I've had to make friends with my crooked dancer toes and my high arches.
Yeah.
And yeah, eyes. I like to look. I like my eyes. I'm trying to look at myself in the mirror more, and I'm
Great.
grateful for legs that move me around and keep me healthy. So nice to
Wonderful.
be here.
Thank you. So glad to have you here, Tracy. And thank you for naming that. We are jumping right into deep water today. Normally, in these narrative medicine workshops, we start off with something kind of light and ease people in, but we're headed into some pretty hot topics and some very intimate topics. Um, the poet we're going to be discussing today, Andrea Gibson, she went there. I'm sorry, they went there. That's something that I also wanted to talk about. We're going to be talking about pronoun use today, like I just did. If you make a slip, just go right into the they, them, they pronouns without much explanation. We'll just keep going with whatever we had to say. The they, them pronouns were very particular to Andrea, very important to Andrea, as we'll read in one of their little blurbs in just a moment. But a lot of what Andrea delved into was topics like intimacy, sexuality. They were very rooted in their body, very rooted in their lived experience of the world. Um, so I'm hoping that we can kind of take the oven mitts off a little bit today and go there with them. So thank you for naming that. I appreciate it. Right. Oh, lots of other great answers. I'm just going to choose a couple here so we can get going. Uh, ooh, what about Sunny? Sunny, do you mind chiming in? What are your favorite and least favorite parts?
Um, okay. I wrote, what did I write? My eyes
Mm,
are my favorite. I mean, but my young eyes, my old eyes, I have to make peace with, but the
mm,
eyeballs are still the same, but you know, the part that I have to constantly make peace with is my butt. It's
mm.
I want in the age of the
Yeah,
Kardashians, I want it to be bigger and but despite this piece that I make constantly, I still, I try to love it every day, just the way it is because it's
beautiful.
functioning and doing what it's supposed to do. So
Beautiful. Love that answer. Thank you so much for sharing that. Great. All right, friends, everybody can take your time just reading through everybody else's posts and acknowledging them. I'm going to go ahead and jump into our workshop because we are going to be packing a lot in today. And we're going to be doing something I've never done before, which is a live piece, a performance piece. So I have a lot of workarounds for technology to make sure that everybody can really see and hear it. Apologies if anything goes awry. Technology has never been my strong suit. But we're just gonna jump in and see how it goes. Um, so first off, I know not a lot of people here are new to our workshop, but not a lot of people here are new to narrative medicine. I share this slide just as a little bit of background about what narrative medicine is if you've not encountered it before. But instead of getting into the, I don't know, nuts and bolts of narrative medicine theory and definition, I'd love to hear from just somebody in this group who's attended a couple of times about what they feel narrative medicine is, what they've experienced it as by coming to these workshops and then by taking it into their own lives. Any volunteers?
I could speak to how what I interpret it as. Um, so I came to the first narrative medicine with Julia last time, and and I had my ideas about what it was. I'm a healthcare practitioner, I'm an occupational therapist. And so um, I felt like narrative medicine is taking a piece of literature and reading it together with your patient and using it as a way to access their innermost feelings and thoughts about about themselves and about their illness and their story. Being in the workshop last month with Julia, I feel like it's about their story, because as a healthcare
Mm.
professional, we can listen to their story and understand
Mhm.
who they are and what is really important to them. So that's what I
Mhm.
got from being in the
Beautiful.
workshop last time.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Sherry. And sorry, I called you Sunny before.
No, it's
The
okay. I
name.
mean, Sunny is my nickname. You're more than welcome
I
to
like
call me
that.
Sunny.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Great. As soon as you spoke, I was like, oh, I know who that is. You've got such a beautiful voice.
Thank
Yeah, no, very well said. We come to these workshops to look at literature, to look at paintings together, so that we can practice listening, so that we can practice diving into the details, learning to attune ourselves to, the particularities of voice and temporality and rhythm, and then we can take this practice back to our clinical space, so that in the real time of the clinical encounter, we can become more attuned to patient stories. Basically, it's a practice of listening, but it also, I think, teaches us how to listen for ourselves. And we're going to be doing that a little bit today, too. So thank you for getting us started there, Shari slash
you.
Sunny.
Yes.
All right. All right. So today we're going to be talking about Andrea Gibson. Andrea Gibson, so funny. I thought I discovered them like a few weeks ago, just out of nowhere. I started seeing, or a few months ago, I should say, I started seeing a lot of Andrea Gibson's performances, and I was just blown away. Absolutely loved their work. And when I saw very suddenly, a couple of weeks ago now, that they had passed away, it hit me like a punch. Like I just made this wonderful new friend and suddenly they were gone. And that's when I
Mm.
learned that Andrea Gibson has actually, many of us have had a relationship with Andrea Gibson over these past months and years. I did not discover this person out of nowhere. And in fact, a lot of what Andrea Gibson wrote about was their experience with chronic illness. They passed away recently of ovarian cancer. They were a queer American poet and activist who used spoken word poetry to address LGBTQ issues, gender, mental health, and social justice. After their cancer diagnosis, oops, sorry, they also began writing poetry on topics including depression, illness, life, and mortality. They were a central figure in the mid 2000s spoken word poetry revival that took place on college campuses and cafes. And in 2023, Colorado Governor Jared Polis named Gibson the state's Poet Laureate. They've written 7 books. They have 7 albums out, which are very cool. Some with a musical accompaniment that they often did themselves. You'll see sometimes they play piano as they're speaking. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous poet, and I'm so happy to share their work with you today. A little note that some of you may have gotten: I sent out this email to everybody in advance, just so it wasn't a topic we really had to spend some time discussing. But I do want to just touch on it a little bit before we get started, which is the they, them pronouns. Oops, 1 second here. So for Andrea Gibson, their queer and non-binary identity wasn't just a facet of their poetry. It was their medium. It was a lived form of art and activism. So we try to, uh, best we can, honor the names that people have chosen for themselves. In narrative medicine, that is uh, what what we are learning to do is to humble ourselves, and so that we can actually hear what other people are asking of us. So this is one wonderful little quote that I saw from Andrea on Facebook. On my deathbed, I might not give much thought to my pronouns or who got them wrong. Who I am might not mean much then in the moment right before I'm about to become everything. But for now, I am human and so easily soothed by the sounds of somebody calling me home with a name I can find myself in. For now, that porch light is a universe where nothing that is tender doubts I exist. So, best we
So
can. Oh, please.
amazing.
Isn't that
So
great?
amazing. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to cry. It's a
Yeah,
poem. It's a
it
poem. It's
is.
beautiful.
It is. It is. So, thank you for joining me here in this tender porchlit universe where we celebrate their existence. Um, yeah. If you mess up like I did when we just started, just correct yourself and move on. But we'll try to honor their choices here. Okay. All right. So before we get started on today's piece, I also wanted to take a moment to frame how we're going to approach it because performance poetry is very, very different. And specifically, Andrea's type of performance poetry, which speaks from a queer voice, is very different than the types of work that we've delved into in the past. This poem and the poet behind it, they ask something very different of us. In most literary spaces, we approach the author of the text and the speaker of the text differently. We call the speaker of the poem the speaker, and we don't conflate the two. This teaches us not to make too many assumptions about an author's lived experience. Maybe they're speaking from different points of view. Maybe they're speaking from different points of view in themselves that are no longer accurate. So we create a little space between speaker and author by just saying the speaker when we're talking about their poetry. That idea comes from a theory called the death of the author by Roland Barthes in 1960. Barthes argued that once a work is written, the author's intentions, identity, and biography should no longer dictate how we read it. In other words, meaning is created not by the writer, but by the reader interacting with the text. So for Barthes, the death of the author was kind of a metaphor. It was a way of saying that the text should stand on its own. It should be independent of the writer's voice or life. It's a powerful idea, and it gave birth to a lot of what we call now close reading and gives us space to make all kinds of our own speculations and connections, independent of whatever the author may or may not have intended, or we assume that the author may or may not have intended. But queer theory complicates this. Thinkers like Eve Sedgwick and Jack Halberstam have pointed out that this model assumes a kind of neutral or universal reader, and it erases the bodies and identities of writers who have historically been silenced, marginalized, pathologized, like queer folks in the past have. So, for queer and trans writers, especially, separating the poem from the body can make it feel like another kind of erasure. And that's especially true today because the poet we're listening to, Andrea Gibson, passed away just a couple of weeks ago. So here, the death of the author isn't just an idea, it's not a metaphor or a theory, it's real. And it invites us to ask, what happens when the author is gone, but their voice remains? What responsibilities do we have to that voice? Andrea Gibson's poetry isn't just written, it's lived. Their body, their identity, their breath, their performance are part of that poem's form. So for writers like Gibson, to be seen and heard in an embodied way is a part of what makes their survival possible. Their voice isn't just a metaphor, it's a lifeline. So today, while we invite interpretations and reflections as usual, we're also holding space for the truth that this poem came from a real body, a real life, and that matters. What does that really mean for our class today? It means, first, usually we use terms like the speaker to leave interpretive space, but with Gibson, it's okay to refer to them directly if you want to, as long as we do so with care and respect for the words that they've chosen to share on the page and the way that they've expressed them through their performance. Um, Second, spoken word is not just about words on the page, it's also about tone and breath and silence, even and risk. So we're going to be looking at their live performance today, and we'll treat those embodied elements like part of the text. Gibson's queer non-binary identity does not explain the poem or can't be reduced to just body, but it does shape the urgency, the imagery, and the voice. So we can hold both. We can hold the freedom to interpret and also the responsibility to listen deeply and to honor that speaking body. So here's how we'll begin. We're going to listen to one of Andrea Gibson's pieces just once without reading along. We're just going to let it wash over us. Notice what lands, notice what softens, notice what stills. Don't worry about getting it or even catching every little word. You probably won't. I didn't. Just be present. And then I'm going to play it again, this time with a transcript so that we can follow along. Um, uh, because we're going to be listening to it, I'm going to invite everybody again just to turn off your microphones. I'm going to try to remember to do that myself so that we can really make sure that we're honing in on the words. So yeah, this first time, just let it wash over you. The second time, I'll show with a transcript, and I'll also give you a couple little prompts to be listening for the second time around. Sound good? Any questions about queer theory and the death of the author and close reading in general and how we approach it? Anything before we dive in? Great. Let's do it, y'all. Okay, so you can. All right, I'm going to play just a couple of seconds just to make sure everyone can hear it. And it's amazing the poems that come out of that. One time, a person, the part that they loved the least was their heart. They struggled with depression a lot, and so they had. How can everybody hear that? Is anybody struggling? No? If you're struggling, put it in the chat box because I can't quite see everybody's noggins. Okay, wonderful. We'll keep going. And it's amazing the poems that come out of that. One time, a person, the part that they loved the least was their heart. They struggled with depression a lot, and so they had a heavy heart. And the part that they loved the most were their eyelashes. And their eyelashes wrote a poem to their heavy heart, trying to teach the heart how to be light-hearted. It was really special. But if you've never written a love poem to a part of your body or the whole body.
Lost sound.
Yeah, Julia, audio cut out.
Okay, sorry guys. I'm going to start it over. Apparently, when I put myself on mute, it took it out. I apologize. I'm just going to start it over and keep myself off mute. And it's amazing the poems that come out of that. One time, a person, the part that they loved the least was their heart. They struggled with depression a lot, and so they had a heavy heart. And the part that they loved the most were their eyelashes. And their eyelashes wrote a poem to their heavy heart, trying to teach the heart how to be light-hearted. It was really special. But if you've never written a love poem to a part of your body or the whole body, I really recommend it. I think one of the most radical things we do in our life is learn to love the bodies that we live in. And my body does lots of things that I get pissed off about sometimes, but it's been a process. For example, learning how to love my stage fright or my stage terror. The fact that my heart is like a hummingbird through the entire show. But this poem always helps get me in my body. And this is called I Sing the Body Electric, especially when my power is out. I have to even out like this, but I promise to look this way. It's like this thing. I got my nose pierced once, and it drove me crazy because it wasn't balanced, so I had to get the other side. Okay, I sing the body electric, especially when my power is out. This is my body. I have weather veins. They're especially sensitive to dust storms and hurricanes. When I'm nervous, my teeth chatter like a wheelbarrow collecting rain. I am rusty when I talk. It's the storm in me. The doctor said someday I might not be able to walk. It is in my blood like the iron. My mother is tough as nails. She held herself together. The day she could no longer hold my knees, she said our kneecaps are our prayer beds. Everyone can walk further on their kneecaps than they can on their feet. This is my heartbeat.
Like yours, it is a hatchet. It can build a house or tear one down. My mouth is a fire escape. The words coming out cannot care that they are naked. There is something burning in here. When it burns, I hold my own shell to my ear. Listen to the parade. When I was 7, the man who played the bagpipes wore a skirt. He was from Scotland, so I wanted to move there. Under my spine, into the spine of an unpublished book, my faith, the first and last page, the day my ribcage became monkey bars for a girl, hanging on my every word. They said, you are not allowed to love her. Tried to take me by the throat to teach me I was not a boy. I had to unlearn their prison speak. Refused to make wishes on the star on the sheriff's chest. I started wishing on the stars in the sky instead. I said to the sun, tell me about the Big Bang. The sun said, it hurts to become. I carry that hurt on the tip of my tongue and whisper, bless your heart, every chance I get, so my family tree can be sure I have not left. You did not have to leave to arrive. I am learning this slowly, so sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes still look like the holes in the shoes of the shoe shine man. Some days, my hands are busy on the wrong thing. Some days, I call my arms wings. Well, my head is in the clouds. It will take me a few more years to learn flying is not pushing away the ground, but safety isn't always safe. You can find one in every gun. I am aiming to do better. This is my body. My exhaustion pipe will never pass inspection, and still my lungs know how to breathe like a burning map. Every time I get lost behind the curtain of her hair, find me by the window, following my path to that trail of blood in the snow. The day I open my veins, the doctor who stitched me up asked me if I did it for attention. For the record, if you've ever done anything for attention, this poem is attention. Title it with your name. It will scour the city bridge every time you stand staring at the river. It never wants to find your body doing anything but loving what it loves. Love what you love. Say, this is my body. It is no one's but mine. This is my nervous system, my wanting blood, my half-tamed addictions, my tongue tied up like a ball of Christmas lights. If you put a star on the top of my tree, make sure it's a star that fell. Make sure it hit bottom like a tambourine. Because all these words are stories to the staircase to the top of my lungs, where I sing what hurts and the echo comes back. Bless your heart. Bless your holy kneecaps. They are so smart. You are so full of grain. There is so much that is growing. Hallelujah to your weather veins. Hallelujah to the ache, to the pull, to the fall, to the pain. Hallelujah to the grace in the body and every cell of us all. Thank you.
Just sit in that for a second. I'm gonna try to do a little something new now. I'm going to add in our chat box a link to a Google Doc. That way we can look at the transcript all together. I do realize that this is a dicey experiment. So if it doesn't work, I have a backup plan. But can everybody try to open that Google Doc in a separate screen? And then let me know in the chat box if something's not opening for you or you can't figure out how to make it a separate screen. Great. Okay, good. Give everybody a couple of seconds. All right, well, in anticipation of that working out, we are going to listen to that powerhouse reading a second time through. This time you can follow along with the transcript. I want everybody just to be thinking about what is different from seeing this as well as hearing it. How does this speaker use their body to create meaning as they speak? And then second, the question that we always ask, notice any words, images, or phrases that call your attention or make you curious as you listen, and write those in the chat box, either or. In fact, I'll go ahead and post these two guides in the chat box itself. Audrey says I froze. Did I freeze for anybody else? Nope. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna do a screen share once again and go back to the Gibson performance. I'm gonna scoot it forward just to when the poem begins.
Those parents once, and it drove me crazy because it wasn't balanced, so I had to get the other side. Okay, I sing about the electric, especially when my power's up. This is my body. I have weather vanes. They're especially sensitive to dust storms and hurricanes. When I'm nervous, my teeth chatter like a wheelbarrow collecting rain. I am rusty when I talk. It's the storm in me. The doctor said someday I might not be able to walk. It is in my blood like the iron. My mother is tough as nails. She held herself together. The day she could no longer hold my knees, she said our kneecaps are our prayer beds. Everyone can walk further on their kneecaps than they can on their feet. This is my heartbeat. Like yours, it is a hatchet. It can build a house or tear one down. My mouth is a fire escape. The words coming out cannot care that they are naked. There is something burning in here. When it burns, I hold my own shell to my ear. Listen to the parade. When I was 7, the man who played the bagpipes wore a skirt. He was from Scotland, so I wanted to move there. Under my spine, to be the spine of an unpublished book, my faith, the first and last page, the day my ribcage became monkey bars for a girl, hanging on my every word. They said, you are not allowed to love her. Tried to take me by the throat to teach me I was not a boy. I had to unlearn their prison speak. Refused to make wishes on the star on the sheriff's chest. I started wishing on the stars in the sky instead. I said to the sun, tell me about the Big Bang. The sun said, it hurts to become. I carry that hurt on the tip of my tongue and whisper, bless your heart, every chance I get, so my family tree can be sure I have not left. You did not have to leave to arrive. I am learning this slowly, so sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes still look like the holes in the shoes of the shoe shine man. Some days, my hands are busy on the wrong thing. Some days, I call my arms wings. Well, my head is in the clouds. It will take me a few more years to learn flying is not pushing away the ground, but safety isn't always safe. You can find one in every gun. I am aiming to do better. This is my body. My exhaustion pipe will never pass inspection, and still my lungs know how to breathe like a burning map. Every time I get lost behind the curtain of her hair, find me by the window, following my path to that trail of blood in the snow. The day I open my veins, the doctor who stitched me up asked me if I did it for attention. For the record, if you've ever done anything for attention, this poem is attention. Title it with your name. It will scour the city bridge every time you stand staring at the river. It never wants to find your body doing anything but loving what it loves. Love what you love. Say, this is my body. It is no one's but mine. This is my nervous system, my wanting blood, my half-tamed addictions, my tongue tied up like a ball of Christmas lights. If you put a star on the top of my tree, make sure it's a star that fell. Make sure it hit bottom like a tambourine. Because all these words are stories to the staircase to the top of my lungs, where I sing what hurts and the echo comes back. Bless your heart. Bless your holy kneecaps. They are so smart. You are so full of grain. There is so much that is growing. Hallelujah to your weather vanes. Hallelujah to the ache, to the pull, to the fall, to the pain. Hallelujah to the grace in the body and every cell of us all. Thank you.
So now that we have a separate Google Doc that we can look at, I'm just going to take us off a screen share so that we can see each other's faces as we speak. And I want to apologize. I know the best lyrics I could get for that spoken word performance were not accurate to the performance. And I actually think that's kind of cool because it's a testament to how every live performance is going to come out differently. Also, one of the big differences between spoken word poetry and written poetry. So I'd like to hear from you guys now. Let's start with the first question. Any words, images, or phrases that called your attention, made you curious? Oh, I love it. Some of you guys are ready. Why don't you guys just do put it in the chat box like you're doing? But I'll call on some people to speak more about it. Let's start with Audrey and the weather vanes. Why did that call your attention?
So for me, weather vanes, I'm just a big fan of like the double entendre, like that wordplay. So like weather vane, usually VANES, and the fact that she later talks, or they later talk about, I'm assuming it was a suicide attempt, and they opened their veins, and the way that I just felt like it spoke to the larger theme, right, of like the blood and the way things that sort of move through us, and weather emotions being like weather and moving through us. So it made me think very deeply about a lot of things.
Really
Thank you.
well said. Emotions being like weather, but also kind of a foreshadowing of the trauma of opening her veins that is about to come in the poem and how it's
Right.
working in both ways. I love that too. There's another wonderful poem. While I was trying to choose, how do you choose the best Andrea Gibson poem for the purposes of this workshop, I stumbled across lots of other wonderful options, and one of them starts out with her exploration of her veins, how she was always told she had good veins. It's something that comes up, I noticed, throughout their poetry. So thank you for honing in on that. Oh, somehow I've lost the chat box. Let me see if I can pull it back up here. Me and chat. There we go. Kyler, do you want to jump in? I know you've got a lot that you're thinking about. Can you name one or two things that you're really curious about?
Yes, sorry. I'm going to try to pick things that other people don't want to touch on later.
Great.
Um, the one image that really struck me was the when they were saying that their rib cage became monkey bars.
Mhm.
I love that. And just the image of like children exploring their gender or not being allowed to explore their gender, and having kind of like really confused feelings, deeply resonated with me because I was always like a queer child, gender queer child. I was like a tomboy and never really like thought, that my really anything that happened in my adult life would actually happen. I didn't think that I could be a man before I transitioned, and I just thought about my dad saying to me once when I was a kid, that like this is what I got. These are the cards that I got dealt. And I wasn't allowed to like I grew up in a very strictly gendered home with like very traditional gender norms. So um, I really related to that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I love the playfulness of that image too, and how inviting that image is. Rib cages, monkey bars. And I think what you're discussing about your how you were raised and your family dynamics actually comes out a little bit in the poem too. The family tree that this speaker is not going to leave, you know. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Somebody else want to just jump in? I know we've got a lot of thoughts on here, so I'm going to kind of leave it up to you guys to you can take yourself off mute and just chime in. If it becomes a problem, I'll start calling on people again. But just jump in whenever you're ready.
Um, I'm Kim here. When it says, "This is my heartbeat," like yours, it is a hatchet. It can build a house or tear one down. It's like every one of us has the possibility of our words and speaking to someone, bringing life or death, or bringing, criticism or blessing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I saw it.
Yeah, totally. Very well said.
I really loved the reference, the metaphor of her eyes their eyes, sorry, their eyes like the holes in the shoes of the shoe shine man. To me, that was such a rich, full metaphor because the shoe shine man is shining other people's shoes, and his own shoes are full of holes. So it just said so much to me about what that her eyes were like those holes. So
Yeah.
it just really resonated with me because then you think of the eyes as the windows to the soul, and is her soul empty? You know what I mean? Are they like the holes in the shoes of the shoe shine man? I mean, it just resonated so much with me and said so much, and it was so multi-layered. So um that was one. And the other one was, if you put a star on my Christmas tree, make sure it's a star that fell or has fallen. I forget what she says, but that imagery also um, was very beautiful to me. Um, like she didn't want a new star. She wanted a star that had lived and had fallen through space and time and experience. And so those two were the ones that really caught my attention.
Right. Let's actually, I would love for the whole group to go there because these are really rich images that I think we could dive into a little bit more. So the line is, so sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes look like the holes in the shoe of the shoe shine man. My hands are busy on the wrong things. So that line, my eyes look like the holes in the shoe of the shoe shine man. What does that mean to you guys?
They're not seen. You can't see the holes on the sole of the shoe shine man. He knows they're there, but you can't see them. So that's, yeah, maybe that reflects their sense of not being seen in the world. Yeah, I don't know.
For me, it meant something different, having come from a family in which some men in previous generations were shoe shine men. It says that you ignore your needs and tend to the needs of others, is what it said to me.
Hmm.
It also for me, I forget the woman who just spoke before Audrey. But when he's on his knees shining the shoes of wealthy people, you can see the holes in his shoes. They're there for everyone to see. And so I think that also um, says a lot. And it resonated with me too, because like Audrey, I also, come from African American community ancestry. My ancestors have also worked in all of those types of jobs um, on their knees,
Mm.
serving. And so I think that's probably why it stood out to me.
And if there are holes, it means that those shoes have walked a long and long distance. Those eyes have seen a lot.
Hmm.
I kind of saw it as her eyes were scarred and weary because the shoe shine man's shoes no longer provide protection for him since they're filled with holes.
Wow, that was wonderful. You guys took us from meditations on servitude and putting others' needs before your own to being seen or not seen to not having the protection that you once needed. I think all of these coexist in that same line. I think that's probably one sign of wonderful artwork when you can have all of these multiple interpretations coexisting. Kyler, you jump on in. I see your hand.
Oh, sorry. I saw John's hand first if he still wants to say something before
I
me.
see that. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Kyler. No, please go ahead. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to expand on other folks' comments. Just thinking about the sort of being a spoken word poet who is queer and is trans and is, visible. I think visibility is a really hot button topic in the queer community because it's like, you might be able to live an easier and safer life if you're not out. Not that that's like an easier existence for anyone to not, be out. But like having to grapple with, am I helping more people by being visible? I think that's probably something that they probably struggled with quite a bit as we all do in this community. And having the eyes be what are holes in the shoes of somebody who serves. Like serving your community and then kind of, maybe paying a bit of a price for that.
I I love how you just flipped it now, Kyler. Like I was seeing that kind of servitude and putting others' needs in before your own is kind of a bad thing for this speaker. And now you're actually flipping it and saying, yes, it is a dangerous thing, but like the speaker, like Gibson says, safety is not always safe. You can find one on every gun. I am aiming to do better. And yes, maybe it is dangerous, but it is better to be visible. Um, Love that reinterpretation. Thank you so much. John, did you want to speak next?
No, I withdrew my hand, but I had originally just saw I found it very interesting to think about the focus of a patron on a shoe shine person's shoes and paradoxically thinking about were their eyes even considered.
Mm.
I thought that was really compelling. Other people, I think, raised the questions and the links in a better way. But it was just really curious to me to sit um, with that thought. When in fact were their eyes even considered, or for that matter, when was anything but our own shoes, right, on our mind, right, when we were sitting there? I find that really, really interesting to think about in the ways that all of you have spoken about that point. So that was my only thought. So thank you.
Thank you. And those folks with your hands raised, I'm just going to let you guys chime in. You can pipe up whenever you're ready.
Aloha, this is Wendy. I had a few moments to read the few lines that preceded that one.
Mm-hmm.
And what they share with us is you do not have to leave to arrive. I'm learning this slowly. So sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes look like the holes in the shoe of the shoe shine man. What I gather from this is that she's come full circle and that she has come to this place of arriving or getting to a place of understanding herself. And the metaphor that she uses that speaks to her eyes looking like the holes is almost this tunnel of journey, or it shows the where of her journey and how she's come to this place today. So her reflection reflects the holes or the work or the labor or the intensity of what she's been through.
Thank you for taking us earlier in the poem. Let's read these lines together. I'm going to start all the way back to the sun. I said to the sun, tell me about the Big Bang. The sun said it hurts to become. I carry that hurt on the tip of my tongue and whisper, bless your heart, every chance I get. So my family tree can be sure I have not left. You do not have to leave to arrive. I am learning this slowly. So sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes look like the holes in the shoe of the shoe shine man. So just in that little excerpt there, we do see the kind of journey that Wendy is talking about. What does it mean, especially in the context of a journey? You do not have to leave to arrive.
To me, that connects to the theme of suicide, of self-annihilation, that if your only recourse, because you can't become, if your only recourse, yeah, I've just seen from Kyler, you don't have to die. Um, you don't have to kill yourself because others won't let you live. There's no space for you to live. And I'm thinking about, for me, it connects to some other lines that caught my attention. This poem, for the record, if you have ever done anything for attention,
Mhm.
this poem is attention. Title it with your name, the incredible generosity of that.
Mhm.
My poem, but I'm giving it you. If you don't have one yet that you can call your own, put your name here. You can have this poem. It will scour the city bridge every night. For me, that's the bridge looking for jumpers.
Mhm.
This poem with your name on it, that's one less person jumping because they don't have a place to be. Uh, and then it does not want to find your body doing anything but loving what it loves. So love what you love. Say, this is my body. It is no one's but mine. So there's both the generosity of you can have my poem, mi poem is su poem. And then there's also, but each of us has our own poem too, our own singular bodies, whatever those bodies are, whatever body means in this context. Um, and then make sure it hit bottom like a tambourine. So hitting bottom, which is in a lot of circles, that's as far down as you can get. You're either from there, you're either going to oblivion or you're going to start clambering back up. And in this poem for this speaker, this poet, hitting bottom is like a tambourine. That links to the next line a few lines later. I sing what hurts. So this person, this poet, this speaker transforms that intensity of pain into music.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm.
and that's earlier. There's one other place. I mean, it's plenty of places, but it's also I am rusty when I talk, but there's also I sing what hurts. The incredible courage of making music, and that ties back for me to you do not have to leave to arrive. You can stay here, you can hit bottom, and you can make music.
Gorgeous. Thank you. There's so much that you just said that I want to dive into, but I think that is the powerhouse comment. This way of making music from the pain. Where else do you guys see musicality, or where did you hear it or see it in the lived performance of the speaker? We've already touched on the tambourine of this line. Where else do you see music in the poem or in their bodies as they say it?
For
For
me,
me, it was about in the rhythm, the repetitions, this is my body,
Mhm.
and a few other things. There was this returning to the body. So for me, it was about the rhythm
Mhm.
in, in it. And carrying the hurt on the tip of my tongue. I talk with my tongue. This is how I
Yeah.
express myself. So it was a combination of the words, but also of the rhythm.
Great. Yes. Tip of the tongue and the rhythm of that. Uh, what other musicality phrases do you guys see here? Some that are repeated, as you wonderfully pointed out.
I think the tempo in which she speaks can't be ignored. So, sometimes we talk about entering the poem, and I felt like I didn't have any options when I was going to enter the poem other than at the beginning. So she announces the first two lines, and then she takes off running. And even the tempo of her voice, the way she uses her arms, it's like she's just tumbling and tumbling and tumbling and tumbling and moving forward and moving forward and moving forward. And then the poem ends. So I was very much caught up in the physicality of the reading, the tempo of the reading, and then the words that sort of stood out to me were the harsher words that are phrases I wouldn't normally hear in my day-to-day life. And so I stopped a lot, but it was very difficult even to listen to the second reading and read the text because her presentation, and this is really true, I think, about spoken word poetry, it's just a complete experience. And it would have been amazing to actually be in the room with her at that time. But it was just a rhythm. And it really felt like a sermon for me as well. There was that piece of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just like a sermon, you have that anaphora, the repetition, that momentum, the swell that keeps going and going until it kind of crests at a peak at the end. You feel that. I couldn't agree more. Tumble is a perfect word. And yeah, what I wouldn't have given to be there live. I mean, watching it just in video, tears streaming down my face. I can't imagine what that would have been like live. Um, I'm also noticing even the man who played the bagpipes. The at my first read, I read that as just the emphasis on the gender ambiguity of the skirt. Seeing a man wear a skirt for the first time as a young woman, that was the focus for me. And how that might have inspired, a less binary way of thinking about the world. But now I'm actually focusing on the bagpipes and the way there was a music created there too. Um, Anybody else see any music terms or I think Kate already mentioned the my teeth chatter like a wheelbarrow collecting rain. Um, how even that has a kind of plink 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 musicality to it. Any other music terms?
I put one in the chat. It says, because all these words are stories for the staircase to the top of my lungs,
Yeah.
where I sing what hurts and the echo comes back. I just thought it was quite the reflection of her being able to advocate for herself or other people. And so she's using her lungs to share those things. And then the echo comes back to her.
Mm. Such a great point because I was thinking of this as a kind of making of music of one's own pain, but here it's a music that's made in the lines that you're pointing out to us. It's a music that's made in collaboration. Music
Yes.
comes back to you,
Yeah.
an echo. What is echoing back? What is it? What is the thing that is echoing back?
I thought kind of a parallel to that, like the echoing was the imagery of holding the shell to your ear because you can hear your blood.
Yeah. I also love
I
just
love that too.
yeah.
The echo. I'm in Honolulu, so just the listening to the shell was quite beautiful.
And there's a kind of double meaning for shell too, like the shell of the body, listening to the body.
Yes, yes,
It also connected to me for you stand on the bridge again. You
Mhm.
stand at your shadow staring at the river. So if you're standing up on the bridge and your shadow is cast on the river and you're kicking at the shadow, you're still here, but the shadow is what you might have done. The shadow is the image of your body in the river. So the shadow for me echoes the echo later. The echo comes back, the echo of singing what hurts. Um, that line, always that line. Am I jumping or am I staying? Am I singing or am I wherever it was about what the silence is? Oh, the prison speak,
Mhm.
uh, being taken by the throat.
Mhm. Oh yeah, the contrast of all this musicality with prison speak. That those, I mean, if I had to put colors around these words, those words would be black and white, prison speak, and everything else just has so much color to it.
I'm
I
thinking,
love that also. You stand kicking at your shadow,
Mm,
staring at the river. It does not want to find your body. And if we think about the shadow, you can never stand on top of your shadow.
mhm,
Like it's a shadow of you, and you never can be on top of it. It never wants to find your body. So, and the way she uses that metaphor to say doing anything but loving what it loves,
mhm.
and that's itself.
Okay, thank you. Because I want to look a little more closely at this. When it says it does not want to find your body doing anything but loving what it loves, what is the it? Is the it the shadow or is the it the poem? This poem is attention to
I
it.
assumed it was the shadow.
The shadow? So
You
you see,
stand
got it.
because when you stand kicking at your shadow, staring at the river, it does not want to find your body. Just like the shadow is a reflector, you can never stand on top of it or completely um make it occlusive. Like it's always there, but you're never on top of it. Like it's always in this other place. It doesn't want to find your body and become one with your body,
Mm,
doing anything but loving what it loves, and that's you.
yeah, so
That's the way to see it.
I know I love that interpretation. What is the shadow? What is your shadow?
Mm.
I think that's a really interesting place in the poem. The number of its that it says, this poem is attention. Title it means title the poem with your name. It, the poem, will scour the city bridge every night you stand kicking at your shadow, staring at the river. It does not want to find your body. If it is poem, and poem is voice,
Mm,
and in those introductory comments you shared with us, Julia, voice, body, and self are different from how Roland Barthes defined them. Then the poem does not want to find your body. The voice does not want to find the body. It's like voice and poem, in a way, are they being contrasted with one another? Don't let your body become divorced from your voice, yourself, your essence, doing anything but loving what it loves, what the body, it doesn't say doing anything but loving what you love. It's it loves. It's like, is the body separate from the self? Is the body the self? Is the poem separate from the body? Is the voice separate from the body? Or is this it? Almost like a gender neutral little kernel, a capsule of all of those things together that go beyond body, that go beyond gender. They go to everything that each of us is, all the complex parts of what each of us is.
absolutely. It reminds me of that great Mary Oliver poem that I'm sure is ringing bells for a lot of you guys as you're reading these lines too. In fact, I had read when I was doing my Andrea Gibson research that Mary Oliver was one of their biggest influences. But Mary Oliver said, all you have to do is let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. There's a way that you can look at your body as an aspect of yourself that is worth listening to and worth letting it have its loves, have its desires.
It's interesting too because I copied and pasted the poem into a side-by-side document so I could look at you and the poem at the same time. And when I copied and pasted it, the poem broke down into different stanzas.
Oh,
So the way I read it, it says the poem is attention. Title it with your name. It will scour the city bridge every night. And in a separate stanza, it says you stand kicking at your shadow, staring at the river. It does not want to find your body doing anything but loving what it loves. So I noticed that it broke down differently when I cut and pasted it, which gives you a different interpretation.
great. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
there's
very
a reason why it's broken down. It's because the U is with capital Y. And
It is you. That's right.
I don't
It
know
is.
if the original goes like that,
but I also noticed that this breaks the whole thing into a different game because
It
then
does.
you're the one who's standing.
That's right. That's right.
And if we take it back, like Kate said, when the doctor asks them, did you do it for attention? What is it? What is it? We don't
Yeah.
know. We can assume, but we don't know. And even if the doctor means something, doesn't mean that it's what she meant or what they
Yeah.
meant. So I think there's a big moment there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mira, can you talk more about the how it changed for you? If there was it sounded like you were putting more emphasis on the you stand kicking at your shadow. Can you talk more about the importance of the emphasis on the you stand? Is that what you were saying?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm really fixated with the conversation with the doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming from, I'm working with behavioral health patients. I'm thinking how many times it happened to me in specific that I translated patients' act into they tried to kill themselves when they didn't.
Mm,
So who am I to, right? Who am I to decide what someone, like who am I to decide that they try to kill themselves, basically?
yeah.
Um, and so this really, I can't move on because I'm stuck at this.
Yeah.
But it is that the doctor who stitched me up asked me if I did it for attention. For the record, if you have ever done anything for attention, which means now it really doesn't matter what she did, right? What they did. Did they try to kill themselves for attention? Did they stood on a bridge looking at the view for attention? Did they call the police for attention? Did they we don't there's so much gap there to fill that it puts everything on a big question mark. And then when you read this poem is attention, title it with your name, it will scour the city bridge every night. So that kind of hints that they've been on a bridge. And then you stand kicking at your shadow, staring at the river. So it's like we all could be standing kicking at our shadow on a bridge at night. It's not just me.
Very well said. Yeah, we've talked a lot about the first person speaker of this poem, the I voice, but we've not talked a lot about the you, the second person, and it changes in the scene that you're describing. It changes right after the scene with the doctor. Before that, the you is kind of a generic readerly you, like you reader, can find one on every gun. I am aiming to do better, uh, but then suddenly, after the scene, the doctor who stitched me up asked if I did it for attention. Suddenly, it's no longer I stand kicking at my shadow, staring at the river, even though Andrea Gibson does write about this moment in other poems where she stood at the bridge, wondering if she should go. Um, Suddenly, it becomes a you. What do you guys make of this sudden shift to you stand kicking at your shadow, staring at the river, especially right after this moment, the scene with the doctor?
I feel like she is inviting us, if we've ever been in a situation like this, if we've ever felt like opening up our veins, if we've ever been at the bridge kicking at our shadows, that let this poem be the attention that they will accuse you of. Put your name on it, because we don't want to find your body in the water we want to find you doing the things that you love to do. It's like, to me, I feel like she's like unprisoning us so that we can understand that yes, we have these moments where we feel like we want to be on the bridge, but do this instead. Do what you love instead. Live instead. Get out of the prison. Don't wish on the stars of the prison guard's badge. Wish on the biggest star, the sun, the stars in the sky. Like, I feel like she's joining us. She's one with us. She's inviting us to journey with her.
Right.
That's what I get from it.
Beautifully said. They're calling us out of ourselves. And I think that really lands with the last line of the poem, every cell of us all. Um, Beautifully said. Thank you so much. As usual, this workshop could keep going with close reading. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface. Um, and I know some of you had hands still raised. I still do want to hear from you, but I'm hoping we could wrap up our close reading in the next 2 minutes so that we can jump right into some writing exercises. Since we have a larger group, we're going to have one volunteer read aloud to the group. So for time management, we'll shift over. Before that, though, I just have one quick last question. What do you guys make of the title? I sing the body electric, especially when my power is out.
It makes me wish I knew the words to the song. Um,
Does anybody know the reference? I sing the body electric. What does that come from?
I just remember hearing it at the beginning of this yoga show on PBS when I was growing up.
Well,
I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but
I do.
The body electric.
Yes.
But I never knew the rest of the words. But especially when the power goes out, it's like when your spirit goes out, when your soul is down, when your shadow feels like it's enveloping you, you want to call back the light, you want to call back the energy, you want to call everything back so that you can feel again, so you can see something good again. It's kind of what I think.
Right.
I also kind of feel like, she says, my mouth is a fire escape. The words coming out don't care, they're naked. There is something burning in here. And I feel like even with the power being out, she still is on fire, electric.
Yeah, that's great. Just a little side note. So I Sing the Body Electric is actually a Walt Whitman poem, and Walt Whitman was one of the an early queer American poet, and wrote mostly about the body. And I think that this poem is an homage to that celebration of embodied queer being, but especially when the power is out, especially as you guys have already noticed, when things aren't working right and you gotta be the electricity for yourself.
Right, exactly.
Right, right. That's great, guys. Thank you so much. All right, let's shift over now, unless there are any last, no pun intended, burning observations that you guys want to make. Wonderful. All right, we are going to shift into some writing. So I'd love for everybody to pull out a piece of paper or just pull up a document on your laptop. We're going to write for 5 minutes. So if you have your microphone on, go ahead and turn it off so that we keep background noise still for the group. I'm going to give you a choice of 2 prompts, and you can write for 5 minutes. If you haven't done this before in Narrative Workshop, I like to invite people not to write cleverly, not to write well, just get words on the page. You'll surprise yourself with what shows up, what you didn't know that you already knew. Um, when I stop the timer, stop wherever you are, doesn't matter if it's mid-sentence. And know that anything that comes out is okay to stay private. We will take this into small groups for you guys to share, but you do not have to share anything that feels too vulnerable. I'll give you another prompt to respond to instead. Any questions before I share the prompt? Okay, here we go. Doing a little screen share again. Second, sorry guys. Here we are. All right, here are our prompts. Write a love poem to a part of your body or to your whole body, or remembering what we wrote about in the beginning icebreaker, write a letter from your most favorite body part to your least favorite body part. Borrowing these directly from Andre themselves. Take a moment, decide which one you'd like to respond to. Set timer for 5 minutes. Let's see. I'd love to hear from a few people. I know we're well past time, so just a couple of people. What did you learn about your own story by having it reflected back to you from your partner? Okay, let me try again. Here's a wider net. What nuggets of wisdom are you taking home from this whole workshop today?
Basically reframing what we see, what we hear, what message we're getting, and and seeing things in a different perspective.
Great. Thank you so much. Any other thoughts? Epiphanies?
If anything, I think I gained a greater appreciation for the choices that I've made in my life to kind of like make my body my own. That was something that my partner definitely picked up on in what I wrote, and I was like happy to hear that.
Yeah, and that really dovetails with the Gibson poem. I see that thought kind of emerging in the shadow of the poem, the permission to make your body yours. And not just for authenticity's sake, but for survival's sake. Really, really nicely said. Thank you so much, Kyler. Any last
I
thought?
think, I think for me, I just feel like there's so much that we could fight about in the world that you don't need to fight inside your own soul and body. Like make peace with it and you know, accept it and love it. It's serving you.
With that.
And I think in the end, you don't really need to go outside to heal yourself or find yourself. You are really just returning to your body and returning to yourself. So,
Don't have to leave to arrive.
yep, that's what I kind of took from that line, but kind of holistically today,
Yeah.
I felt like we all are just, you return home to who you always were. Sometimes you venture out into the world, but um, your healing comes from inside of you, not externally. Just my opinion, but
Thank you, Pia.
mhm.
Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us today, sharing your nuggets of wisdom with me too. I always learn so much just by listening to you. Doing workshops like this make me realize I need to be asking everyone's opinion all the time about everything because there's so much shared intelligence here. So thank you all for bringing it today. I know everybody's got to run. I want to just put two quick things in the chat box. First, Kate, our lovely Kate, who had to bounce, is leading a Tuscany writing and yoga retreat March 26th. If you're interested, I'll leave her Gmail. And then Audrey, did we miss it? It was the 23rd, your caregiving retreat. Are you doing more work with caregivers? Audrey? Oh, she might have gone. Okay, well, I'm gonna pop both of their emails in here. If you're interested in caregiving, reach out, doing the caregiving retreat, reach out to Audrey. Uh,
Can you
um,
please repeat what you said? That my line got cut off.
Sure, yeah. I was just noting that two members of our group have fun, exciting things coming up. If you want to check it out, Kate, who just left, is leading a Tuscany writing and yoga retreat next summer. And then I wasn't sure if Audrey is still hosting her caregiving retreat. She did something on the 23rd. I'm not sure if it's going to be a continuing series, but I don't think she's here to clarify. If you're interested, there's her email. If
Can
you
you email it? Can you text it or email it to us, Julia? I have to go.
sure, go for it.
I Okay, okay. Thank
I'll send
you.
it to you. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
So if you
thanks.
want to talk, otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Julia.
Hi, world traveler. How
Hi.
are you?
Good. Very good. Feels very good to be back.
I
Hi,
bet it does. How long have you been home?
John. Hi,
Hey,
Kyle. Hi,
Anna.
Wendy. I
I,
just took them back like a week, about a month now, 4 weeks, like yesterday.
So you've landed.
Yeah.
You're here
I've
officially.
landed, yeah. Like this, I think only this week landed. The other 3 weeks now. But
Yeah.
this week, yeah, we're tilting to the floor. Grand in a good way. Plane landing. Whatever.
I read
Yeah.
somewhere that there was kind of this idea that when you travel, it takes a while for your soul to catch up to you. When
Yeah.
you go across so much space that by